Hello folks, Russ Scala here with SCALA Precision Health. Today we're venturing down a new road. We're going to talk about why we age. And this has always been a topic that people have been wondering, why are we aging? What can we do about it? And with a lot of the new research we have now, we're designing advanced anti-aging programs at SCALA Precision Health that are gender specific. And a lot of this research that I put together not only comes from medical research, but it comes from anthropological studies. It comes from me racing as a triathlete, studying triathletes in the early 80s and 90s, and then studying bodybuilders and looking at muscle wasting, catabolism, and muscle building, as you can see with this chart. Way back in the day when I was a triathlete racing around the country, I was doing it to protect my heart. So I thought the longer distance I would go, the better it would protect my heart and improve collateral circulation. Well, as I started going to races and coming across the finish line, I would go into the medical tent to get an IV, and I started seeing other triathletes with cardiac arrhythmias. And then a couple of my buddies had heart attacks. And it took me a while to get my head around this, but the long distance training was actually damaging my heart and my body. I didn't know that. I remember calling my Dr. George Stanley to do an MRI on my heart because I knew there was a group of triathletes and endurance athletes that were having calcium blockage, and a couple of them had stents and bypasses, and they called me for advanced treatment protocols. So at the time I was developing advanced treatment protocols, I was working with the cardiology community to try to plug this research in on why these athletes that were so fit with great collateral circulation was having coronary incidents. So at the same time, I immersed myself in the bodybuilding community, and I started seeing the same thing with the bodybuilding community. I started seeing, really fit guys, these metabolic astronauts that were just taking deep dives into the physiology and putting on major muscle mass. And I knew a lot of the things that the bodybuilders were doing and a lot of the meds they were using weren't being tested in traditional medicine. So I've immersed myself into the endurance and the bodybuilding community, and I gleaned a lot of research on what we're looking at today for this gentleman in the walker. We've got 10,000 people today turning 65 for the next 20 years. Muscle wasting is going to be an issue. It's called sarcopenia. So at SCALA Precision Health, we're looking at this at the cellular level, we're looking at the hormonal level, and we're designing advanced gender-specific treatment protocols for you and your family members. Well, one of the things I realized is, but right around 30, we start losing hormonal levels. So when I was eating 7 meals a day and training long distance in my 30s and 40s, I was pushing my hormonal levels in the toilet, and that was damaging my heart and my brain. And then when I started getting into the bodybuilding market, again, eating 6 meals a day, trying to maintain muscle mass, getting all those calories, again, we're not designed to eat that much. So leaving the paramedic system, the SWAT team, giving people drugs, and then traveling to the best research labs in the country, testing endurance athletes in the 90s. We even moved to the ketogenic diet in the 90s because there were so many athletes, including myself, that were overweight. And I'm thinking, if I'm doing all this training, why am I still carrying extra body fat? Well, once I moved over to the bodybuilding community and I watched these guys put on 10, 20, 30 pounds of muscle mass by elevating MTOR, mammalian target or rapamycin, if these guys are in the anabolic state, then they're going to help these elderly people maintain muscle mass as they age. Now, what's really interesting about this pendulum swinging back and forth between AMPK and MTOR, fasting can elevate AMPK, okay? Mitochondrial biogenesis, or stimulating mitochondrial functioning and muscle mass, that helps muscles grow. But if you're a cancer patient or you're susceptible to cancer, or you have a genetic history of cancer, then elevating mTOR can be dangerous. So the combination of understanding how growth hormone, IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor, and insulin all work together can give us an idea how to prepare a cancer protocol or how to prepare a muscle wasting protocol. These things right here have been around for a very long time, almost the last 70 years. We've got a lot of studies on HGH, IGF-1, and insulin on how it maintains our physiology. What happens to the bodybuilders and the endurance athletes is they have high glucose from a lot of meals. They eat 6-7 times a day to maintain that muscle mass or to travel that mileage. They have oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is when you cut an apple in half, that apple gets brown. That's the oxidation that happens to your brain and your heart. That's what's dangerous. So oxidative stress damages brain and heart tissue and muscle tissue. So we have DNA mutations. On a cellular level, we got about 1 trillion DNA breaks a day. Some of these DNA breaks that happen normally can lead to mutations and cancer. So by elevating blood glucose and insulin, these are things that could accelerate the growth of cancer. So when I say elevated mTOR, high growth hormone, high IGF-1 and insulin, that could accelerate cancer growth. But also it's very important for maintaining muscle. And guess what? In our brain rehab patients, we want to use HGH, IGF-1 and insulin. So again, it's understanding the physiology on a cellular level. It's understanding mitochondrial function. It's understanding how your telomeres work. It's understanding how the stress of your environment can damage your internal organs. For instance, and anybody that's under physical, mental, or emotional stress, like these two groups are, can damage the hippocampus with elevated cortisol levels. We also work with war veterans, police officers, detectives, and you stay on a high-stress job too long, you'll damage your heart tissue. So if we think about, folks, why we age, there's multiple areas that we look at as SCALA Precision Health before we develop you customized treatment protocol. And education is the key to this because we have to dispel a lot of myths in people's brains. We have to transfer learning to behavior. And that's sort of why I set up the Russ Scala YouTube channel, because by immersing myself in these communities, the endurance community, I raced as a triathlete for 20 years, did a lot of damage and didn't realize it. And I used growth hormone, IGF-1, and insulin to rehab my body over 4 years. So the bodybuilders saved my life and helped me develop muscle. And that information that we're putting together now is for this guy here on the walker.
New research on hormonal replacement therapy is now at our fingertips. SCALA Precision Health, along with the Institute of Nutritional Medicine and Cardiovascular Research, has partnered with professional treatment centers in Winter Park, Florida.
Now, folks, understand that I was director of research for a large pharmacy. I've set up anti-aging centers from Boca Raton to Beverly Hills. I watched how hormone replacement therapy can improve the quality of life in 60, 70, 80, and 90-year-old people. Now, my early days as a paramedic, I was taking people into nursing homes. So I have these visuals in my head of watching people go into nursing homes in their 60s. I'm in my 60s. So when I worked in the anti-aging centers and I saw what growth hormone, IGF-1, insulin, testosterone, progesterone, I saw what the hormonal therapy can do when it's combined with nutrition and, of course, the mitochondria. We want to prevent muscle wasting or catabolism. We want to focus on anabolism or muscle building. With these two groups right here, you just glean so much information to help these elderly patients. Because, you know, if you break a hip, like I used to take patients into the hospital with a broken hip and they would die in the hospital because their muscles were a reservoir for fuel to help them recover. They didn't have any muscle mass and they would pass away in the hospital from a broken hip. So muscle mass is extremely important. Who knows it better than the bodybuilders? So when we ask the question why we age, it's a multifactorial process. It's gender specific, it's a little different. But what I wanted to do at SCALA Precision Health was design a program that could improve a person's quality of life. If they had cognitive decline, we wanted to go after it. If they had diabetes, we wanted to help keep their blood sugar down. We wanted to maintain their blood sugar, avoid the oxidative stress. Because if we maintain these things right here in mitochondrial function, this right here has more to do with aging than anything on the planet. These areas right here are really tight blood sugar control and avoiding that oxidative stress, like when you cut the apple in half, the apple gets brown. A lot of the PhDs say today that aging is a disease, and that when we start looking at aging as a disease, it's gonna really step up the innovation. So I hope that was helpful, folks. We're gonna be coming out with more videos on why we age, because it's my passion to keep everybody off a bedpan as long as we can. As funny as that sounds, that's not a good quality of life. I definitely saw it, and I don't want to live that way. So we're gonna take a deep dive into the aging process. We're gonna be coming out with more videos. You can check out the Russ Scala YouTube channel to take a deeper dive in some of our content. See SCALA Precision Health and my book, American Biohacker.
The time is now for you to take control of your health. Everybody and every body has a story. Let us find out yours today.